Anyway, so legal mindset's got a fast facts video out about Hank. So legal mindset, I think will be much better in terms of the factual content than 50 minutes. So let's look at what legal mindset has to say about Hank. If this is simply just Hank is going to be kicking Johnny out because he's like, I'm not paying for you anymore, or is the legal system going to be coming after Hank as well? Haha, I am curious. So let's find out.
Hank Yu, the top ally of Ramzi Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, is scared and he is trying to hide. It is, of course, not going to work. We're going to get into it today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney dedicated to stopping nuisance streamers like Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid Ismail, and making sure they face legal consequences. So we're going to jump right into it today on this Fast Facts video, giving you just the quick and dirty of what is going on in the Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid Ismail case. So many people for a long time, and myself included, have wanted to direct more heat at the ally of Johnny Somali, Hank Yu, Han Jung Yu.
Not wanted to. I have directed heat at Hank. Okay, I've called Hank. I have the numerous videos that we have watched involving Johnny and Hank is there. I've called Hank the fuck out every single fucking time. I have called him out for standing there wearing the Chinese military patch. I've called him out for standing there pretending like he's a fucking bodyguard wearing his balaclava and acting like he's some big tough badass with, again, the Chinese military patch on his shoulder. I've called Hank out every time he showed up in a video. I laughed my ass off when that South Korean Special Forces guy came in and after Spartan kicking Johnny across the sidewalk, turned around and basically did the same fucking thing to Hank. Before Hank went ditch and went and got like a sword or something. Fishy, there should be a juice box one. I'm pretty sure there's a juice box one that you guys have access to. So, yeah, it's maybe Andrew has been kind enough not to call out Hank. I've called Hank out all the fucking time. I flat out called for Hank to be arrested right along with Johnny, because I have flat out called for him to be arrested numerous times right along with Johnny because he is basically enabling Johnny in every fucking way possible. So Andrew was probably nicer about it than I am. Me, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna call it out if I call it out.
Hank has been a critical figure in this story. He has pretty much enabled Johnny Somali to not only continue living a relatively comfortable, if sparse lifestyle, but also enabled him to continue streaming when he wants to by providing him things like a phone, a streaming setup, an apartment to live in, giving him a stipend,
giving him a streaming account. Because I'm pretty sure that the account Johnny has been streaming on has not been his own. Well, the party one is his own, but I think Hank was letting Johnny use his YouTube channel until that got banned recently. I'm pretty sure Johnny got banned on the YouTube account that Johnny was using, I believe, got banned, and I don't think it was Johnny's. I'm pretty sure it was fucking Hank's. So it's more than just giving him the streaming set. And by the way, I'm pretty sure he still has been paid on Party. I am reasonably sure Hank's Johnny still has not received any money from Party. No, Pakistan, I don't know if he's even streaming on X. To the best of my knowledge, he's been booted off every streaming type platform in existence, with the exception of Party. Party is the only platform that he's been able to stream on, but the problem is he has to make X amount of dollars before he gets any kind of a payout, and she hasn't been able to make that X amount of dollars. So he's been receiving zero money whatsoever from Party.
Buying soju for him, pretty much being his sole source of revenue. Johnny is out of money. Ramzi is out of money. And relies on Hank pretty much solely for funding and for housing and everything else. He's even gone so far as to, it appears, provide funds for his legal defense. Now, Hank seems to, after this recent time, and we're going to get into the exact reason I believe why he
Okay.
has gone into hiding. Well, first, and the first update was Hank lost his gym membership. His gym was informed of his relationship with Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail, and they decided to terminate his membership. So Hank's gym membership has been terminated. But beyond that,
Oh, shit. Okay, I don't know as legal mindset's gonna go into this, but that may open up things for other aspects of Hank's life. What happens when he tries to go back to school after everything with Johnny is done, and the school says, no, we're not letting you back in because of your relationship with Johnny? Or what is any other services like the gym that he is a part of also decide to start saying, you know what, fuck this, we don't want to have anything to do with you, and they start dropping the shit. Yeah, and Mad Test, that was the other thing I was going to get into. If the school says, no, we're not letting you back, then Hank has to do his mandatory military service. Because the only reason why he didn't have to go into the military service was because he was a student. If he no longer has that, see. Yeah, Jason, that's what I'm saying. He was able to because he was a
So all it
student.
takes to cancel a gym membership is to have a controversial friend. Wish I knew this earlier.
Well, at least in South Korea, Revan. I doubt that would happen in America or anywhere in North America for that matter, but it does in South Korea.
he's actually gone out and deleted everything from his YouTube channel. He has this small, very tiny, infinitesimal YouTube channel called Hank the Tank. You can see him there with the People's Liberation Army (CCP).
Yeah, that's exact. Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is he would have the People's Liberation Army flag from China. He would wear this as a patch on his like shirt or his coat whenever he would go out with Johnny. This patch would be on his arm every time he would go out with Johnny, acting as his quote unquote bodyguard.
Flag right behind him, and that kind of cowboy hat that he is known for,
Oh, I
let's
know,
say, in
Darth. I
many of
know.
his more controversial photos. So he's deleted everything from this. He's kind of purged this channel. Now, a lot of people wonder why that is. Is it because he's trying to just lay low? Is it because Johnny's going into his
Eh?
hiding phase, which, as we've discussed on this channel, Johnny Somali goes through different phases, and one of the phases he usually tries is to hide, to stay low, and not cause any waves while certain legal things are pending in order for those things to play out and for the cycle to kind of go through. Well, it's not just that. It's because Hank himself could be, once again, could be on the line for one of the same charges as Johnny Somali. Now, what is that? Well, if
Yes.
you guys were paying attention and watching my last video, of course, this video here, you can see the short version of
Yeah,
news.
and yeah, Jack, I kinda have to wonder if they're gonna try and do that. Kinda like how people deleting their vlogs off of Twitch could be considered destroying evidence. Could they, if it's something stemming from his videos, could that also be construed as destruction of evidence? I wonder. Haha.
Somali investigation opens. That's a fast facts version right here, posted on my channel. We
Yep.
confirmed that he is now, there's a reopened investigation of Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail for child sexual harassment for a
Right?
slew of behavior in South
We knew
Korea.
that.
And one of the things we pointed out was one thing that is now under investigation is the conversations that Johnny and Hank were having with minors over the last couple months. They would go
What? I might have either forgotten about the fact that Hank was with him or didn't know that Hank was with him. I can't remember. I'm not sure which it was. Oh, fuck. Oh, he's fucking done. Because don't forget, all of that was streamed. When they did this shit with the minors, this was streamed, which means that video is saved by the South Korean police or prosecution. They've got that evidence. They've got that video footage. And if Hank said, and the prosecution is on a fucking warpath right now. They are 100% using Johnny as basically their whipping boy. Johnny is their public whipping boy of, you want to fuck around as a live streamer in our country? This is where you're going to find out. And they will have zero problem if they have enough evidence to make charges stick. I have no doubt that they will slap the bitch right out of Hank and charge him too, because he has enabled and facilitated Johnny being able to do this in the first place. Realistically, I'm a little surprised they haven't looked into charging Hank as something of an accessory, because Hank has provided Johnny with the tools to do his streams, knowing the kind of content that he was going to be doing, knowing the level of chaos that he was going to be facilitating. I would say, in my head, you could make a pretty damn good legal argument against Hank as being some kind of an accessory, because he provided Ramsey all of the tools, knowing what he intended to do with it. No, Tanashi, Hank is not making him commit the crimes, but that's what I'm saying. The argument, I think, could be made that Hank knows the crimes that Johnny was going to do. He knew, especially after spending all the time with him, he knew the types of things that Johnny would be doing and provided him with the material goods to facilitate this. So, well, charging his chat would be a pain in the ass, because now you're talking about, trying to facilitate international law enforcement. Hank is right there in South Korea with him. It might be a different story because he's a local boy. And they could probably facilitate charges far easier on Hank than they would trying to waste taxpayer dollars trying to go after international chatters, issuing subpoenas to Twitch, getting or issuing subpoenas to whatever streaming service to get their locations. Hank's right there. They could smack Hank around big time, and he's right fucking there. Now, again, the part about him doing the aiding and abetting, that is speculative. It is 100% speculative. I'm not saying there's a legal basis or that they can do it in any way, shape, or form, because I do not know South Korean law. This is pure speculation on my part. I'm just thinking, given the facts of the situation, to my mind, you could make the argument, a good, justifiable argument, for some type of aiding and abetting type charge against Hank. Now, with him talking to the kids, well, that's him actually first person committing a crime. If what is shown in the evidence is enough to substantiate said charge, which I'm guessing he's going to go into.
On a certain website, Ome, and they would talk with minors.
Wait.
And Hank were having with minors over the last couple of months. They would go on a certain website, Ome, and they would talk with minors, which they confirm were minors. And even Hank several times himself said, hey, these are kids. But they proceeded with this. They proceeded with these conversations, which were sexual in nature with children.
Fuck.
Clearly. So once again, this is something that they can be investigated for and they can be pushed for. And mind you, child sexual harassment carries a up to 10-year maximum penalty. So that is a very serious criminal allegation that now could face Hank. And up until this point, when people have asked me about Hank and what Hank could be facing, yes, there's some things it's possible Hank could be hooked in on. But for the most part, most of the crimes fall squarely on Johnny, not on Hank. Hank might have been there. He might have been helping with logistics, but it's really hard to prove some crimes were committed by Hank, or Hank would have some sort of accomplice liability for certain crimes, especially the ones that were from before Hank got deeply involved with Johnny Somali. However,
Right.
this one, since it's from the past few months, and literally has Hank sitting side by side with Johnny Somali, yeah,
Oh,
that's something that they're going to take very, very, very seriously, and they're going
yeah. And like you were saying, Atanashi, this could be not simply just one charge, one charge. They could charge him for the child sexual harassment for every person that is a minor that they spoke to. Every single person that is underage on this website that they spoke to, they could charge each one of those, and each one of those conversations is its own separate charge. And each one carries a maximum of 10 years. And it's not like the states where they take multiple charges and they run them concurrently. No, it's okay. If you're say he gets 3 charges of child sexual harassment. Charge 1, he gets 10 years. Charge 2, he gets 10 years. Charge 3, he gets 10 years. That all stacks. So that means he'd be spending 30 years in prison. Well, Storm Power, Hank can't come back to the USA. Hank was booted out of the US and he is banned from returning. So Hank cannot go back to the US. Now, Johnny, if he is convicted of this child offense in South Korea, when he returns to the US 50 years later after he gets out of prison, he will have to register as a child sex offender. If and when he ever returns back to the US. So yeah, Johnny's majorly fucked, and Hank is working on it. Hank is working on getting fucked too. And Snorlax King, thank you for the follow, by the way.
to investigate, and Hank may even be called in and questioned as a part of this, right? As a part of this process, because he was indeed right there with Johnny Somali. He was sitting there. He knew what they were doing. He was the one that provided the computer. He provided the internet access. This harassment was going on from within his apartment. So you put all those things together and you look at it and you say, yeah, it's a reasonable person could expect that Hank, knowing he's under potential suspicion for harassment, would.
And I was gonna say, what the fuck happened to what the hell happened to his video? He froze up there. Kanito? Given the fact that he's already pled guilty to 3 charges, that he has at least 3 more incoming that they're going to be taking witness statements for in his next court case, and they're reopening this child sexual harassment case, which they would not be opening it up if they didn't have enough evidence to convict. Don't forget, the South Korean prosecutor's office has a 99% conviction rate. Johnny is already 1,000% fucked. He is already 1,000% fucked, both metaphorically and probably physically too, once he goes to prison. And that's if they don't bring up any more charges. There is still the possibility that even more charges could come down the pipeline that we have not even heard about yet. In the grand scheme of everything he's done, it is entirely possible that there could be even more charges getting worked up as we speak or being investigated that they may add on even further. So yeah, he's fucked. 10 ways to Tuesday.
Would indeed delete his profiles, go into hiding, back things up. And I love the Johnny Somali Discord reaction. This is actually a really interesting one. So this is from inside the Discord very recently. So people were trying to say, am I making this up? And this is when I was talking about the confirmation at the official investigation. And I love the response here. It doesn't mean much. They can try. I think it means a lot. I think it means up to 10 years.
What? Dude? It doesn't mean much, then they can try. Again, I will point out, the South Korean prosecutor's office has literally a 99% conviction rate. They do not bring a case in front of a judge unless they basically have a guaranteed fucking win. If they cannot guarantee a win, they are not going to present the case to the judge and they'll just drop the case. So, no, try not. Do. Well, there is no do not in this case. So,
Doesn't mean much, they can try. I think it means a lot. I think it means up to 10 years behind bars, 10 years in prison. That is a lot. And they are indeed going to investigate that. That's indeed going to be something that is a little bit more than tried. That's going to be a lot of heat on both Johnny and potentially Hank as well. And I think the real issue here is that this is something they're going to be very harshly scrutinized on multiple accounts. Johnny for Lotte World, for
yep.
harassing minors on the street, for other instances and altercations, as well as for this online interaction with minors via.
Eridan, I'm going to disagree with that. South Korea is not more efficient than all the states because this case has been dragging out for quite some time. This case has been in progress for many months by now. So I don't think that this is more efficient than all of the states. I don't. But there's a trade off. The trade off for not being as efficient as in states means that Johnny does not get a plea deal because South Korea does not do plea deals. So that's the trade off. The court process is slower, but they don't fuck around with plea agreements. If you're going in front of a judge, you're going in front of a judge for the crime that you committed, not for a plea bargain. So that is the difference. It's not so much they want to make sure they get their ducks in a row, Eridan. It's like Atsunashi was saying, their court system, the way the court system and the court cases are conducted is different than how it's conducted in the states. So that's what it is in terms of why it's taken so long. It's just the process in which the court system operates is what is causing the time period here.
Instances and altercations, as well as for this online interaction with minors via TV. And Hank being there for that second one, he's going to be questioned both in relation to Johnny's crimes and his own crimes. So I think that's something that's going to come down on him and certainly not going to look good for him. And I know there's others that have pointed out that, hey, if somebody ends up bringing this to his school, they could boot him out. They could kick him out. And
that's what I was
certainly
saying.
This is a situation where Hank is going to have a whole lot of trouble if he gets a conviction. If he is ultimately, if a charge is brought against Hank and he has a conviction, that is really going to hurt his future, not just in South Korea, but even if he fled to China or fled somewhere else. Mind you, an important fact about Hank, a lot of people forget this, is that he cannot really go back to the United States. He's out of the United States. His whole permanent resident battle is really done in the United States. He's lost his legal battle there. So Hank's options are dwindling. His future is not looking good. And I think as he looks into that, I will see, and I predict that he's going to put more and more space between himself and Johnny Somali. Now, do I think Hank is necessarily going to betray him tomorrow? I don't think it's likely. I still think Hank thinks that his star is tied to Johnny Somali, at least in the short term. However, I do think in the long term, and hopefully for Hank, he wakes up at some point and realizes that Johnny is going down, Johnny is sinking, and he needs to get off that ship. He needs to try to run off that ship. And perhaps it's not too late for Hank to try to salvage what little he can.
I wonder if maybe the prosecution maybe paying Hank a visit in the near future to have a little chat. I don't know if this is something of how the South Korean prosecutor's office functions. I could see them paying him a visit and saying, listen, we have plenty of evidence on you to make child sexual harassment charges stick. If we bring this in front of a judge, you know we'll win. And when we win, you will lose your college. You will not be able to flee anywhere else. And he may very well have to facilitate his mandatory military service. If you testify, they may actually, maybe there's a possibility they may say, if you testify against Johnny, we won't charge you. So I have to want, this is going to come to a head with Hank pretty soon. He is feeling the heat, and this is before even going into Hank's family. Hank's family alone is already turning up the fucking heat on him because his whole family hates Johnny already. And they are already starting to turn up the heat on Hank. If the prosecutor's office and or Hank's family decide to say fuck this and just bring the hammer down on Hank, Hank will fold like a cheap seat in seconds. I guarantee. And I think we're probably not too far off from seeing that happening.
And from this situation. But what do you guys think about Hank? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
I love that he has that as his end of streams, end of video stinger. I love that.